Hello, my name is Alan, and today I'm facilitating the last of four sessions of what I'm rather pompously calling Rune Seekers of Glorantha. We're playing in the Glorantha of my childhood, or youth, actually. I was relatively old at the time, using my old box set of Borderlands to just scaffold some play, but using a set of rules for playing Glorantha based on World of Dungeons. Want to know more about that? Go back to session one where I did a long and tedious introduction. But for now, I just want to introduce us three of the players. We're fourth players just had a computer hiccup, so hoping that they're going to rejoin shortly. But I'm just going to ask the players who are here to just introduce themselves, say hello, and just give us a very brief pen picture of their character. So I'm going to come to Mona last because Mona wasn't here last time because she was ill. So let me start. Joe, I'm going to work right to left on the character keeper. So Joe, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Inkarne.
Hi, I'm Joe, he, him. I'm playing Inkarne, a she, her, who is a devotee of Ernalda, a sort of Earth Mother goddess from Old Tarsh, which is, my understanding, is sort of the bitter group of people who hate the Lunar Empire because they're all pretenders and whatnot. And so, yeah, so she is sort of what you might consider more of a ranger-ish sort of. That's kind of turns out how she's grown into. But yeah, so she. I don't know what else.
Well, I mean, that'll do nicely. I mean, we may discover more about her animal whispering shortly.
Yes.
Let me go next to Blake. Blake, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and just briefly introduce us to Jandetin. Oh, and here is Sabine.
G'day, I'm Blake, he, him. I'm playing Jandetin, also he, him. He's a devotee of Humact, the god of death and war. He's was he Grayslander? I think, yeah, he's a Grayslander. He's got a pony, they ride and fight and ride and fight. And then they ride and fight some more. And yeah, he's looking for challenges to test his prowess.
I think
yes.
specifically undead challenges.
Yes, definitely. It's very keen to kill some people that don't sleep.
This might be a good time to just remind all of you of the opportunities and complications that you chose during character creation. If there's a way for you to bind them into the unfolding story, that's fine by me. Sabine, sorry, we made a start while you were rebooting your computer. Just doing introductions. So say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and just give us a very brief pen picture of Rissan.
Yeah, okay, my name is Sabine. Hi, I use any pronouns. I'm playing Rissan, he or they pronouns. He is kind of a scholar, but more like the Indiana Jones kind of scholar, really. And he likes to not run around and fight people, but run around and talk people into or advise things that they might do. Yeah.
Thank you. And finally, Mona, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Delenda.
Yeah. So I'm Mona, she, her. I'm playing Delenda, she, her. And so Delenda is like a native of the Persian tribes, and they all worship Waha, the god of the wild. And she has kind of sold her services to the Duke as kind of a local guide. And yeah, I think that's, oh, and she can turn into like a jackal werewolf. So she's very good in a fight. Yeah.
She certainly is. Yeah, she tore into some brew the last time we saw her in action. So what I want to do is we will probably open this episode with that montage of events from last time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Joe, Blake, and Sabine just to pick out some event from the previous session, if they can remember one. No pressure. I'll fill in if you can't. Just to give a sense of the flow of the last session. And I'll intersperse that with what I think Delenda, some events around Delenda in the intervening time. So I think this episode probably opens with, previously or 2 days previously. Yeah. And so 2 days previously, let me begin with Jandetin. Jandetin, tell me something that will be in that montage that relates to newtlings and an ambush.
Yeah, well, we got ambushed by newtlings in the swamp. Who was it? Rissan and myself ended up in the water. We managed to, and then sort of fled the area without. We scared them off and we went a different way.
Okay. Let me cut to Delenda at that time. And Delenda, I think what I'm seeing is you still arguing with Dane as the other three disappeared upriver, ostensibly in search of a nest of outlaws. And Dane is saying, look, I don't care, I know the bison is important to you, but I needed my best people on that boat, and you're still here. Mona, how does that argument with Dane end? Because clearly you're not going to be at that ambush, because you weren't.
Yeah, so obviously it ends with me not on that boat, right? Yeah, so I think it ends with me saying, a rider is nothing without her bison. I will ride him there if I have to. And then I think like I maybe I get on my bison and just kind of try to find a way, like somewhere without using a boat.
Fine. So try to go cross country. Inkarne, I think that the next bit of the of this previously on is deep in a bog at night. Give us a little flavor of events the night that you had to spend in the bog in pursuit of newtlings.
So I think once we got everybody out of the water and camped for the evening, on Inkarne's watch, she heard something rustling around, kind of tracked it into the swamp, and found a like a giant toad creature, giant toad, for lack of a better term, and we had a brief fight with it, but then Inkarne spoke to it and convinced it to help them get out of the swamp, or the bog, and it sort of drug us or the boat, or kind of plowed a route for us to get us out of the swamp, towards the eyes, the plateau with the eyes.
And I'm going to cut back to Delenda, where we don't see Delenda any longer pursuing the boat. Instead, we see Delenda on her bison leading a horse back to the fort where the Duke is currently occupying. And when you arrive at the fort, Mona, it seems like there's chaos going on. It's the middle of the day. There are the garrison soldiers are rushing about. Dane is shouting orders. You can see that the Duke has his arm around his wife. The most emotion you've seen the Duke show as he surveys what's going on. What do we see you doing? Because the horse that you're leading has had some runes carved into its rump. What do you do when you see all this chaos?
Yeah, I think I find someone and ask them what's with all this commotion.
And one of the garrison soldiers kind of stops and says, Lady Jezra is missing. Apparently her bed wasn't slept in last night, and a horse is missing. And he looks at the horse that you're leading in. That horse, he says. What do you do?
Oh, it reminded me, who is Lady?
Lady Jezra is the heir of House Rune. She is the daughter of the Duke and his wife.
Was she with us when we
No.
go to the boat?
No. No, she no. Nobody knows where she is. She didn't sleep here last night. Oh, it's only just been discovered. And that's when a couple of newtlings arrive, the newtling mercenaries that left on the boat, with news. And they spill the beans about the fact that the boats were ambushed. The three people that they took with them have disappeared into the bog in pursuit of the ambushing newtlings. And they come back to keep Dane and the Duke informed. So all hell is breaking loose. What do we see you doing, Mona?
Yeah, I think I was like sighing and saying, these people can't get anything done without me. And then I think I'm trying to figure out just where did the three of them ended up so I can go help them.
I think that's a good idea. I think that Dane sees you and he marches across. He recognizes the horse as Lady Jezra's favorite pony. And carved into the rump are two runes. There's Chaos and the Beast rune. And he looks at them and he says, Tusk Riders. Let's cut to Rissan. The morning after, where you made your way through the bog, and then you see Tusk Riders with a kidnapped victim kind of held across the saddle bow of one of the Tuskers. Tell me about the journey to the tower. Tell me something that's in the montage about what we see.
Well, we had a brief discussion about whether we should try to rescue the heir of the house or whether we should follow the newtlings. And we thought it would be more useful to the house Rune to rescue the heir, actually. So we didn't follow the newtlings and we followed the the Tusk Raiders. And we came. They were at the tower where the vampire was supposed to live. So we thought, okay, Jandetin wanted to kill an undead anyway. So,
and I think we cut that little bit of the montage with the three of you looking down on the tower. Back to Mona, where we see Dane has sent you to track the Tusk Riders while he gets a rescue party together. You start from where you found the horse, and we see you tracking the Tusk Riders. Now, to use broadly my available map, there's the fort, and what you find is that you were heading up north here, and you found Jezra's horse. And when you follow the tracks, you find that the tracks go around the bog to about here, where they go up onto this rise and then head south in the direction of said tower. And what I think I want to do is to then cut to a point where you get to the tower and you're probably seeing it from the same perspective the characters did. They haven't got any animals. They've been trekking cross country on foot and you've been following their tracks. And what I think you'll see is Tusk Riders, these kind of half trolls, spilling out of the tower at dawn in pursuit of Tuskers. And you can see half a dozen Tuskers kind of ambling away from the tower and the Tusk Riders following them. And then, shortly afterwards, as you observe this, you see Inkarne and Jandetin at the open doors of the tower, and I put a picture of the tower, I think, in the maps tab, just so you've got some idea. Yeah, it's down on row 34. You've got some idea of the structure of the tower. And you see them closing those big ground floor doors. it looks like they've got inside, frightened the Tuskers out, frightened the Tusk Riders out. The question I've got for you is, the doors are closed. Do you want to get into the tower, or do you want to deal with the Tusk Riders?
Do they still have the Duke's daughter?
There is no sign of the Duke's daughter. It looks like the Tusk Riders have spilled out of the tower because their Tuskers have escaped from the corral outside the tower. Looks like they're in pursuit of their mounts. No sign of the Lady Jezra among the Tusk Riders or with the Tusker mounts.
Yeah, then I think I will probably try to get into the tower.
I think the obvious thing that we see you doing is hammering on those big doors. No response from inside. So you're faced with the same challenge the others had, which was the only way in seems to either to climb up to one of those windows or to climb up to the roof. Which route do we see you taking? Window or roof?
Can't I just break the door?
I don't think so. I mean, I think you could try charging the bison at it, but with the best will in the world, they look pretty stout.
Yeah.
They're about 8 or 10 feet across and 15 feet high, each of them.
So you say either use one of the windows or...
So you could either try to climb up to one and get in through one of the windows, because they're or go all the way to the roof and look for a way in. What do we see you doing?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go to the roof and see if there's a way in.
Fine. So that's when we cut back to our group downstairs, deep downstairs. That's why they couldn't hear you banging on the door, where they are investigating a secret door. And what the audience will see is just that flashback of you rescuing Lady Jezra from that dungeon, and then looking to leave the way you came in, but then Inkarne finds the secret door because there's a footprint of a Tusk Rider that kind of ends at the wall. So clearly some Tusk Riders have come and gone through this secret door in the wall. So Inkarne, you found it, and we're kind of back in real time for you. What do we see you doing?
Yeah, because I think if I remember correctly, everybody else was starting to. They were kind of scrambling up the stairs with the Duke's daughter. I won't call her the P word this time. And she hollers at him, "Hey guys, look at this!" as she kind of pushes it open, and starts to kind of slink down the if I remember correctly, it was like a long dank hallway or something. Or
That's
stairs,
right.
something like that. Yeah.
And meanwhile, Delenda, we see you again repeating pretty much what they did last time, which was to climb up the wall using cracks in the masonry, and levering yourself over the top. And then you hear the grating of stone. And you've not really noticed them previously, but there are two statues of crouching, vaguely reptilian winged creatures on the roof. And as you lever yourself over the edge, you see two heads turn towards you. What do? The statues are animating.
Does it look like do they talk?
Do you give them a chance? Because as the bodies follow the head as they turn towards you until they're facing you across the roof. You notice that there's a spiral staircase disappearing from the middle of the roof down into the tower. And so now they've turned round. You're equidistant from the spiral staircase, you on one side, them on the other. And one of them says, in a language you don't understand, it says something. What do you do?
I mean, I don't have anything that can help me understand. So
I don't think so.
yeah, I think I'm not going to just attack them yet, but I'm going to put my hand on my sword and just kind of carefully walk toward the staircase.
Which, of course, is what they're very carefully doing as well. You know, you take a step, they take a step. But as you begin to move towards the staircase, one of them says, in a language you do understand, please beware. You are not allowed here. Please depart. And then that message repeats again in a language you don't understand. And each time they take a step, you get the message in another language. Do you continue to edge towards them as they edge towards the spiral staircase? You're getting closer and closer. What do you do?
Yeah. And I think I say to them, by whose authority are you guarding this place?
My master requires me to inform you that you are in danger of harm. Please depart.
Who is your master?
My master instructs me to inform you that you are at risk while you remain in this location. And what you notice is that they're now dividing to go around the staircase to get to you. What do you do?
I think I keep like inching toward the staircase and talking and stop for time until they are close enough. I can hit them both at the same time.
I think the difficulty now is because they're going around different sides of the spiral staircase, the hole in the floor, they're going to come at you from two sides if you're not careful. What do you do? You've edged to the lip of the spiral staircase as they are coming around the spiral staircase to either side of you. Do something or prepare to receive borders. While you're thinking about that, we cut to the deep dungeon. Inkarne, yeah, you know, I think you managed to find a lantern or a lamp of some description as you made your way down the tower. And yeah, it looks like it's not a natural passageway. It is a passageway that slopes downwards, and you can see it kind of turns. We know that everyone's going to come down here, because otherwise I wouldn't have gone to all this trouble. So what do we see you doing, Inkarne, as you edge forward into the darkness with Lady Jezra, I think, saying to Jandetin or Rissan, I think, oh, is there another way out?
It would appear so, my lady.
Well, that's much more convenient. It stank up there.
Yes. Care to join us?
Well, I'm not leaving. You finally arrived. I'm not leaving now. You're here to rescue me, aren't you?
I think so, yes. It's a pleasure.
So, Inkarne, what do we see as you edge into this passageway followed by the others?
Yeah, so I think we'll see her kind of slowly and carefully moving down the passageway towards the bend, and then maybe kind of peering around the corner to the best to see if she could see what's around the corner.
The best indication I can give you is that this is a kind of reasonably long spiral downwards. So there's always a corner.
Okay.
Yeah. Line of sight is measured in meters rather than centimeters. Cut back to the rooftop. Delenda. It's truth or dare time. They are clearly going to attack you any moment now. Do you confront them, or do you make a dash for it?
I make a dash for it.
I'm assuming a dash to the spiral staircase.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me think. I think that is probably about physicality. So I think this is roll with might.
Okay, let me get
to take action. The dice room is on, the link is on the safety tab. If
Yeah, no,
any-
no, no. I just forgot to open it first.
Oh my!
Yeah, yeah.
That's only a 4. No pluses to that. So on a 4, I think things go badly. James described the consequences. I think that you do get there, but one of these stony claws scratches across the back of you. You've got some armor. I think that will probably. Have you got any armor actually? Yes, you have. You've got 1 point of armor. But I think I'm going to apply 1 point of health damage to you. So reduce health by 1.
Yeah.
Now, Inkarne, you've investigated this. You know that this is a long, slow spiral downwards. My question is, do you proceed, or is there a moment in which you think that all of you would benefit from a little moment of rest or recovery? Because we have some rest and recovery rules that we've never had to use because typically you've got into difficulties at the end of an episode.
Well, mechanically that would be nice, but I think we don't really know if, from our perspective, I think those Tuskers could come back at any moment. Wouldn't?
Yes, indeed. I have a clock running on that.
Yeah, and so I think she's going to lean into exploring her world, and she's going to keep going down the spiral or whatever it is.
Okay. I am going to check in with Jandetin because Jandetin took something of a beating last time as well.
'Tis but a scratch.
And so they edge forward.
I would just not to interrupt anyone, but I would like to see if I have any knowledge of this kind of building type, what that might lead to. Because if we're just running into the ritual room at the bottom where you might sacrifice a princess, or if you don't have one, a duke's daughter, then we might want to turn back as quickly as possible because we might just run into a cul-de-sac and then trap ourselves there. So I would like to know if if I have any knowledge of types of buildings like this. And
well, let's ask that question, shall we? I think this is roll plus wit. To get a little bit of narrative advantage out of this.
Would lore apply here?
I think lore would apply.
Cool. Wit, you said. I am witty. Reasonably. Wow, okay, yeah.
A 12.
Yeah.
So you get to ask me an awful lot here. And I think what you can ask me is, so are you familiar? I think, yes, there is a significant risk that you are simply heading deeper into a vampire's tower and a dead end. However, second piece of narrative that I'll offer you, there is just the very faintest breeze, and even the slight smell, maybe that the breeze is just vaguely damp. And that suggests that there is water and somewhere that breeze is coming from, which I think is probably reassuring.
Yeah, it is.
Is there a third thing you want to ask me?
Is there a third thing I want to ask you?
Or you can just ask me to add something narratively.
We haven't seen the vampire so far, right? Would it be conceivable that he was down there actually waiting? for the Tuskers?
I mean that's a very leading question.
Yeah, but
I tell you what would surprise you
mhm.
is Tusk Riders and Vivamort are not a natural mix.
Yeah, yep, that I figured that, but
That so maybe your conclusion is secondary occupation. Maybe that they have moved into this space into this tower because they found it. Rather than necessarily they are here serving a vampire.
Yeah.
Is that helpful?
That seems rather reasonable, but it will be probably very disappointing to Jandetin.
Well, that said, I mean, there are, certainly Inkarne is following the trail of, it must be said, the trail is not recent, Inkarne, in terms of the coming and going of Tusk Riders. Cuts back to a spiral staircase. Delenda, you kind of scurry down, having taken that wound, and you hear the grating voice from above saying, "You have disobeyed my master's commands. You are an intruder." And you hear the sound of heavy-footed, stone-clawed feet on the spiral staircase above you. It appears that at least one of them is following you. What do you do?
Yeah, I think I keep going forward, but I keep while like looking back, and like if it ever gets too close to me, I'm going to attack it first, but otherwise I'm just going to try to push forward, because like I'm not here to fight them.
Fine. No, I think that works for me. I mean, you're normally loaded, so you're quick and looking for trouble, inverted commas. So I don't think you'll have any trouble staying ahead of some animated gargoyles. You come down a couple of turns of the spiral staircase onto a landing with a number of doors off. Will you explore, or will you continue down the spiral staircase?
Because I'm trying to help them, but right now I don't know. Is there any like indication to me that where the others are, or where the Duke's daughters is?
Fine. I think that's a fair point. I think all the doors on this floor are open. And there is signs of a cursory search. I think that's probably all you've got if you want to stay ahead of the gargoyles.
Yeah.
And let's have you make a roll. Let's have you roll with wit. Let's see if I can offer you something better than that.
I got an 8, so
okay. So that's success. What I can do is I can say you can see that. Let me think. What's your skill set? Let me just check in. Riding and tough. I think that there is little sign of these rooms having been disturbed. There is no sign, as you could do a quick cycle of that landing, looking through the half dozen doors. There's no sign of the Lady Jezra, the kidnapped victim. There's no sign of Inkarne, Rissan, or Jandetin. And I think your best bet is to keep going.
Yeah, then I will keep going.
But again, you can hear the heavy scrape and clatter.
Part of the reason to keep going.
And down you go down the stairs. Would you roll with wit again for me, please?
Yeah, sure. I got a 7.
Which is what you needed to avoid the dodgy step. Near the ground, when you're getting down towards the ground floor, you notice that you put your weight on a step and it just flicks a little. And you come to the same conclusion as the others, this is some kind of trap. So I'm going to just have you leap over that without making you roll again. You spotted it.
Yeah.
And you're down on the ground floor. You can see the big doors that they closed, and just as well you didn't throw the bison at them, because there's an enormous kind of locking bar across each of them. They would be very difficult to shift from the outside.
Yeah.
But I think probably it's time for me to mark another segment on the Tusk Rider clock, which is now 3 marked out of 4. What you probably can hear through the door is an argument and somebody kind of pushing on the door. So it looks like they've come back and discovered they've been locked out of their own tower, which probably prompts you to look around. It's an open space, no indication of anything here, apart from there is an open door in the stairwell, in the kind of column of the spiral staircase that leads steps downwards. And you might just be able to hear some conversation from down there. What I'm going to do now, Delenda, is I'm going to cut back to them in the basement, and I want you to interrupt me when you want to enter the action. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because I think chronologically, I've just about got you back together. So, Inkarne, back to you. Spirals down, and there's a distinct kind of smell of dampness. To the point where there's even maybe some condensation on the walls here. And you can see as you come round another turn of this kind of slow slope downwards, spiraling downwards, you see another secret door, but this secret door is ajar. What do you do?
So I think what she's going to do is, and it might be useful to, I don't know if everybody remembers, I think we leveled up last time, so there's
You did. Oh yeah, and for I think just for the sake of equity, I'm going to level up Delenda as well. So I'm going to award you some EP in as part of the love letter. So this makes you devoted. You now get an extra skill. You can choose the level 2 skill. You can also select a devoted rune spell. And I notice that neither Rissan nor Jandetin have selected a devoted rune spell. So you might want to think about that while I talk to Inkarne. Because Inkarne, I notice, has chosen renewal. So Inkarne, slightly ajar. You're holding the little kind of ceramic lantern torch lamp up. The fact that it's burning quite well suggests there is a decent supply of air down here. What do you do?
So I think I took when I leveled up, I took the stealth skill, so I think she wants to try to, and if that means maybe putting the lamp down, because it's not obviously super stealthy to enter a dark room with a lamp, but excuse me. So I think she's gonna try to very stealthily push the door. I mean, you said it's ajar, right? Kind of like so that she can kind of see what's in there, and I guess once she sees what's in there, I guess she'll decide whether she's going to go in or not.
For that stealth to be valid, I think now a gap opens up between you. I think Jandetin was behind and Rissan was with Jezra at the back of the group. So I think there's now a gap, and probably you send them back as far as you can as this spirals down. So Jandetin maybe can just about see you around the curve of this corridor, but you're at the secret door. Let's see how that goes with stealth. And if it goes well, then I'll tell you something.
All right.
You can't fail because you're stealthy now.
Is this
Oh, sorry. I think this is probably that's a good question. Which way would stealth go? I think this is agility, physical prowess, wit or might? Your choice.
I think I will take wit since I have a plus.
Picking your way down this corridor.
Yeah. Okay. Let me. Whoops. Can't do it. 13.
My goodness me, this goes perfectly. Not only does no one know you're coming, but I think also when you get there, you know, there's the sound of kind of, you know, just dripping water maybe. So maybe this is the where that kind of dampness is coming from, but also there is a very strong smell of rot. You know, I'll go as far as to say there's a dead body on the other side of this secret door that's ajar.
Okay.
Okay, without the lamp, you can't really see much else.
And so, so if I remember correctly, this door was kind of in the wall, but we could keep going.
No, you
around.
can't. It's at the end of this spiral down. So play ball or go home.
Yeah. So I think she'll back out of there and let everyone know what she knows. So
What's the view of Jandetin, as if I didn't already know?
He's going to pick up the lantern and loudly say, "Come face me, vampire."
Rissan, is there any counsel for caution on your part, or is it just Jandetin wants to march ahead?
I was pretty clear if there is a vampire, the Jandetin wants to fight it. So with that, the caution, yeah. I will try to remember the weaknesses I know about vampires. Jandetin might know them already, but maybe the others don't. So I will just list them.
What I'll do is I'll roll to see how accurate your information is when it matters.
Yes. Okay.
I'll also point out
think-
I'm winded, so I should smell pretty tasty.
Yeah,
So-
I think at this point, Delenda arrived, and I heard like the last part of, and I say, "What? There is a vampire to be slain? What are we waiting for?"
Oh, hey, Delenda, good to see you.
Hello, hello. And no, I think I say, well met. I have been sent to find the Duke's daughter.
We've found her, but
She's still with Len, right?
Yes, yeah. Rissan is.
not letting her out of the side.
Yeah, I see you have already found her. So now we
Yes.
just need to get her out of here.
Yes, that's what we're doing, says Jezra. It took long enough for you all to arrive, and you're late. But apparently there's a way out this way. I must say, the conversation, she's not very stealthy, Jezra. So if there is something beyond that door, it probably just heard her.
Probably also heard Jandetin and Delenda
challenging vampires.
And me. And I think their stealth is over now.
I think so. And in fact, I think as the camera just, takes in this conversation in the corridor, we see Jandetin marching away from you towards the secret door at the end. Delenda, Inkarne, I'm asking Rissan last. Do you follow our would-be vampire hunter?
Yeah.
Inkarne?
yeah, but she'll she's kind of, I think she's unslung her bow and will be hanging a little back.
Fine. So what I'm seeing is Jandetin marching to this doorway, Mona following up, Inkarne stringing bow and getting ready, and then Rissan and Jezra.
Yeah, and I'll tell Inkarne that from my knowledge, a wooden shaft to the heart of a vampire paralyzes it. So,
well, that gives you something to aim at. Jandetin, you come to the door. What do we see happen?
I'm gonna, pray to Humect and do my True Blade thing. Not True Blood, that's very different. Kick the door in.
Are you telling me that you're activating True Blade before you go through this door?
Yes.
Okay. Then let's have you roll to use rune magic. When you want to benefit from rune magic, roll plus current favor.
3. Okay, cool. Mm. 14.
14? My goodness me. Happily, I didn't write a 12 plus for this move. On 10 plus, your god is generous. It doesn't cost you any current favor, so it costs you nothing. How do we
Sweet.
know that your short sword is now blessed with True Blade? What does this look like? We've spent very little from the special effects menu.
This lady behind me looks like that. There's like lightning going around this.
Fine. Okay. And you push open the door. There is some resistance as you push open the door. And as you do so, a figure comes towards you. What do?
Stab it.
You stab a rotting Tusk Rider, lit by the lightning flashing up and down your blade. The Tusk Rider is facing away from you and is impaled on a series of spikes. It looks as though opening that door caused the spikes to come towards you. The spikes are currently carrying a dead Tusk Rider. That's where the rotting meat smell is coming from. Mona, you are behind Jandetin. You see this. Do you have anything to say, anything to observe?
I think I say, well, I don't think it can be any more dead than that.
And as you kind of edge past it, Inkarne, you've come on with the bow strung. Rissan, have you picked up the lamp? Because what you do, Jandetin, is you move into a large space in which there is definitely that drip of water. And as the three of you go through, 4 of you go through this door, followed with Jezra in tow, Rissan's light illuminates a large space, but there is some reflection from the center of this large space. And that appears to be a body of water, not enormous. It's maybe 5 meters across. Collected water, and there is condensation dripping from the ceiling back into it. And the other thing you notice, Jandetin and Mona, who are at the front, lit from behind by Rissan, is an open grave. What do? I go to Mona. I go to Delenda first.
Open grave as in just one grave for one person, or like
in the light cast by the lamp, one open grave. This side of that body of water.
I think I said I thought vampires don't like water.
Jandetin?
Running water.
Rissan.
Running water.
Running water. Jandetin?
I'll approach the grave with my sword out.
Inside is the skeletal remains of a body, of a humanoid, certainly, probably human. Delenda, Inkarne, Rissan, do you follow Jandetin into this space?
Yeah, I do.
Sure.
Inkarne?
Go ahead.
She wants to kind of search around to see if there's another way out.
I guess that what are you asking Rissan for the light source? So you can explore?
I want to explore myself anyway for kind of insignia and stuff like that. So
it doesn't take many steps away from the entryway to reveal another open grave with skeletal remains inside. And as you kind of just examine this side of this kind of pool of collected water, you will find 3 open graves, and not far away on the other side of this water, you will probably get close enough to illuminate another 2. So there are at least 5 open graves in this natural cavern, I would describe it as. In terms of a way out, at the very far side, there appears to be a carved, i.e. not a natural, exit from this cavern, Inkarne. I'll tell you that. Anything else now requires some dice rolls, but
On the other side of the water? Is that
yeah, but as you've kind of gone one way and gone the other, the sense you get is that there's enough dry ground to have dug 3 or 4 open graves. It looks like you could walk around the water to get to that entryway. Rissan, what were you looking for? Did you tell me?
Symbols, anything that could identify who these people are who are buried here, what they were doing, stuff like that.
I think now that you've come through that secret door and it's kind of swung back to where it was, the balance point is off because there's a Tusk Rider pinned to one half of the mechanism. You will see that behind that kind of metal grid with spikes in it that clearly kind of came round and took the Tusk Rider in the head, in the face, in the body. You will see that there are 3 runes carved onto the wall. One of them is chaos.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I get this right. One of them is chaos. One is darkness. The other one is not one you immediately recognize. Would you like to roll with lore?
Oh, absolutely. I would like to roll with lore. I want to know what's going on here. I mean, Duke wants a report, right? Also, I might want to impress the lady.
So wit, inevitably. Yeah. And lore would apply, I think.
Yep, okay. That's a 7, so it's a success.
Okay, so you get 1 word. You get one answer. It is very rare that you see this rune. Some scholars would say that it is not a rune, it is the pollution of a rune.
Oh.
It is the renewal, and if you want to check what the renewal looks like, you can see it on Inkarne's character sheet.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of vaguely angular 8. It's rotated 90 degrees, so it's on its side, and there is a single line going through the middle of it.
Okay.
And it is a pollution of the renewal rune, many scholars would say, by some called the rune of unlife.
Yeah.
Or maybe undeath.
Okay, so we are in the right place, at least considering Jandetin's purposes, because we have I will relate this to my fellow people in this lovely room, that we have the rune of undead here, so we are at least in the right place if Jandetin wants to kill some undead, even though they seem to maybe have starved or something, so please don't anyone bleed on them.
So yeah, you examining the room, there are 6 open graves, each of which has a thoroughly decayed human body in it. There is a carved exit from this space on the other side. Jandetin, I'm thinking that you may be most eager to move on or to stay.
No, I'll stay and say, let's go. I'll guard you all. Let's get out of here.
That's an interesting question, Rissan. Inkarne, I think that your survival tracking will play here. Without rolling the dice. No, roll the dice, because you can't fail, but you might get more or less information. Roll plus wit.
Alrighty.
Okay, so that gives you hear what sounds like the grating of stone on stone from the passageway you've just come down. So something is moving down that passageway, still quite far away. Do you have another question? Or do you make this observation out loud?
Yeah, I think I'll make the observation out loud that there's something out there.
Delenda?
Yeah,
Question mark?
Yeah, I think I simply say, then let us be on our way before they catch up with us.
They catch up. I'm seeing it on people's faces. Inkarne, what's your part of that conversation?
Yeah, I think she's ready to head towards the exit, but I had a little bit of a question about, so Ernalda is about life, and she has the renewal rune. This would be, I'm assuming, would be pretty like disgusting to her, just maybe in the sense that if it's a perversion of one of the core sort of things.
No question. This is absolutely the polar opposite of where Ernalda, who is, it supports the natural cycle of life and death.
Right. And so and if this is not a thing, we can just, I think her response would be wanting to get out of here because of it's almost would make her sick in a way. But what I was wondering is there anything that she could do to try to purify the place, or maybe I didn't know if renewal could be the runes, but like maybe to try to do something with one of the I guess we're making the assumption that these maybe all are undead things or whatever. That, because I'm thinking that she's going to have two opinions on this. Either she wants to cleanse this place, or if that's not mechanically something that we really want to like try to do, then she wants to get out of here because it's gross.
I don't know about cleanse. I think that's a big ask, and I don't think renewal's the spell to do it with. She could invoke earthquake to crack that unlife or undead rune. It's right there carved into a rocky wall.
Yeah, I think we want to leave before we do that, though.
Okay. So what I'm seeing is all of you gathering at the far side of this kind of pool where water is dripping into it. Jandetin is saying, "Go on through. I'll watch. See you safely through." Did I get that right, Jandetin?
Yeah. I've got awareness, so I'm watching, listening,
fine,
expecting something.
So is it Mona or Inkarne who breaks trail and goes forward? I get the feeling Inkarne wants to hang about to maybe do something with that rune on the other side of the chamber as she leaves. So I guess it's I'm guessing Rissan isn't going to go next. Go first through the archway.
Oh, I don't mind going first to the archway. I want to look if there are traps on it anyway.
Fine.
Because this thing might be trapped, and I know a bit about buildings and about construction things because I took artifice.
You did.
And I think that might be helpful in detecting if there's anything on this that we should be aware of. So
I think you're not wrong. Roll plus wit.
The lady to stand back a little, and I will roll plus wit again.
There's that crunching of stone on stone Inkarne spotted seems to be getting vaguely closer as Rissan is kind of examining this archway.
Oh, it's a 7 again.
I can tell you that it is not you can't spot any trigger, you can't spot any kind of loose stones. It looks like the ground beyond is fairly solid stone. So no, I think the simple answer to your question is no, it's not trapped.
Cool.
Do you have a second question to ask me?
Is there a way to close it?
No, there's no door at all. It's just an archway.
Okay, then we go through and...
Fine. Rissan steps across. That is when the apparition forms in front of you, Rissan.
Oh.
And that's where we'll take our first break.
Damn.
Back in our seats at 1:15.
Yeah.
Fine. See you then. So we left it with Rissan stepping across the threshold of that arch. Maybe the first thing you noticed, Rissan, was the lamp, the flame on the lamp just wavered. Clearly there is a current of air coming out of this passageway. And maybe you can see that there's another archway at the kind of range of the lamp. But as I say, an apparition just forms in the darkness ahead of you, just almost an increased density in the darkness. What do you do?
I will not try to do a dance off, as has been suggested in chat. I will instead greet the apparition politely and ask it to allow me passage.
Fine. And then it attacks you.
Oh, okay.
I think you've just discovered it's not a very bright spirit. I think Inkarne, you're looking back into the room, thinking, time to hit this with an earthquake. And you notice that the Tusk Rider is now pushing on the spikes that held it upright. What do you do?
So she's pushing back. And
you may well have heard Rissan saying, "Speak, friend, and enter."
Yeah. I think maybe so. Is everybody else at a place where she could do the earthquake thing reasonably and think that it's
everyone else is kind of around that archway about to follow Rissan. You're the person looking back because you gave me the impression you were thinking of hitting that rune if you could.
Yeah, so I think she will do that. I think she'll go forward with the rune spell.
Delenda, is your attention on Rissan and an apparition, or is it on Inkarne casting a rune spell?
I mean, I think it's on Inkarne because I did we all thought if there's a undead, it's probably in here. So I think I was thinking if Inkarne needs a hand destroying that room, I can help. So I didn't expect that Rissan would run into an apparition. So yeah. I think for the moment, I'm focusing on the room.
Jandetin, what about you? Focused on Rissan and an apparition, or a room and an animating zombie?
I think it would have been Rissan because I've got awareness, and I think when that lamp fluttered, I just went.
Fine. Then Mona Inkarne, as well as a Tusk Rider, a zombie Tusk Rider, leaving itself away from the spikes that killed it. You will also notice 6 skeletons sitting up in those open graves. Let me ask you, Mona, Delenda, what are you going to do? I tell you what, Mona, could you add Delenda to your Zoom? Because I having to double think. Thank you. While you're doing that, I'll ask Inkarne what they're going to do.
They're gonna cast the earthquake rune spell.
And target that rune over there.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes. Rune magic, roll plus current favor, which I think is great because it went up as well. I increased your current favor, Delenda, because it goes up by 1 with an increase in your level.
Okay.
Alrighty. 9.
9. Well, it could have been a lot worse. That is 7 plus. Your god grants you the full effect of the spell at the cost of 1 current favor. So current favor drops down from 3 to 2, but goes through that room. I don't think it's enough to bring the room down. I think it's enough to destroy that particular rune. Yeah, so I think you hit it. Let me see if that has any effect on our friend the zombie, or indeed anybody else present. It should do 1d6. Yeah, as I remember. Have I got that? Oh no, 3d. Yeah, 1d6. Close loud. Let's roll 1d6.
Damage roll.
A damage roll. I know. It's just like old times.
What does the AP if enclosed space?
Armor piercing.
Armor piercing. Sorry.
You are in an enclosed place, so maybe you get lucky in terms of where Analda wants to locate. That's a 1. Okay. There is a sprinkling of light dust from the ceiling that you see the zombie shaking its head. I am going to give you a point of harm, though. So you do some harm to a dead Tusk Rider. Delenda, 6 skeletons have sat up in their open graves and show every intention of climbing out. What do we see you doing?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go keep them down there.
Fine. They're scattered. They're located relatively evenly around the pool. So pick right or pick left.
Yeah, I'm going to go left.
Fine. And there's another one over there on the right that's just getting out of its grave. Jandetin, Rissan, you see this apparition reaching around Rissan. Do you do something about Rissan, or you've spotted those skeletons are moving?
Delenda can handle them. I'll sort of move Rissan with my left arm while swiping with my right.
Okay, let's go to Rissan. Rissan, this thing is reaching out and attacking you. The way that you enter spirit combat is you roll with grit.
Okay.
What does that look like as a defense against this, an effort to subdue it from Rissan's point of view?
I mean, this is a spirit, right? I can't hit it with anything corporeal. That wouldn't even make any sense because it's not really corporeally there. But I am actually a scholar, so I feel that I might know some.
I won't make you roll the way that
prayers.
I think it's about grit, willpower, and believing you can hurt it.
I believe that I can hurt it.
So what is that? What do we see you reaching into it and trying to tear it? What do we see? How does that manifest?
Yes, you see, it's not a dance-off, but I think I will start to chant some of the runes that I know, and kind of try to shout it away, shout it down.
Fine. I was hoping it wasn't just going to be.
No, I'm trying to shout it down. I think
fine. Let's have you roll to hurt it. Roll with grit.
Okay. I don't think counterspell will do anything to it.
It's not technically a spell. You're quite right.
Yeah. Wow. No, not good at shouting down the spirit.
Okay. So you are going to take harm from it, which is armor piercing, which is 2 points of health.
I'm still very much alive.
The good thing about spirit combat is it doesn't cost you a point of health to engage in it.
Oh, yeah. That is good.
So we see you, trying to kind of just shout it down, to just drive it away. Jandetin, there is this kind of amorphous mass amorphous shadow surrounding Rissan. It's not a question of moving Rissan to one side or the other. It's around Rissan. What do you do?
Because I've got True Blade, but that doesn't really help, does it? It's
True Blade, inflict +1 harm for the duration of one battle scene using an edged weapon. It would. You'll just be rolling with grit. You have to just believe True Blade will work.
yeah, and I'll say, Humact, guide my strike and stab at it.
Fine. In over Rissan's shoulder. If this goes badly, maybe you didn't miss the shoulder, but let's find out. Roll plus grit.
Which is -1. Great. So worse that can happen. Good. Not quite. 5.
A 5. Okay. On a 5, it reaches to you as well. As well as it's swirling around Rissan, a kind of amorphous limb reaches out to you. You're going to take 2 points of health, AP. I'm not going to inflict harm on Rissan. I'm going to inflict harm on you. That seems only
bring
fair.
it on. I'm saying, come at me, fiend. I'm not afraid.
Delenda, you confront the skeleton as it's climbing out of its grave. It's not particularly well armored. It's got a weapon of some description, though it's probably not in particularly good condition. What do you do?
Yeah, I think I swing my broadsword at it.
This is a corporeal target. Dismembering skeletons. Roll with wit. Or roll with might.
Yeah, okay. Hold on, my computer is...
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, can I just roll my dice list?
Of course you can. Of course you can.
Oh, wait.
The sound of a rummaging dice tin.
I got 6 + 1, which is 7.
Fine. So how do we see you take the head and shoulders off this skeleton?
Yeah, I think I'm I'm actually kind of like I'm swinging the broadsword sideways and like hitting it on the spine. So because it's actually really thin, so if I sever the spine, it will just be cut in two.
Fine. And at the point where it's cut in two, the bones fall into a pile. Inkarne, Delenda went left. There is an open grave to your right with a skeleton that is now clambering out of it. What do you do?
Is it far enough away that I can use the bow, or do I need to drop that and go with the sword?
I'm prepared to let you try the bow.
Okay.
Which I think we've agreed is roll plus wit, because it's about targeting.
Sure.
Aiming to just put an arrow straight through that crumbly skull.
Exactly.
Go for it.
Plus wit, you said, right?
Plus wit. Oh, this is going terribly well.
She's very disappointed with herself about her inept earthquaking. And it's carried over to her her bow shot.
Yeah, it's worse than that. The bowstring snaps. So the next thing you know, it'll be on you. Let me go back round to Rissan. What do we see you doing?
I think we see me kind of take a breath and say to Jandetin, leave this to me. Take care of the bonies. Can take care of this.
What is it that's actually doing harm to you in this encounter? What is causing you distress or even physical harm? I don't know.
That's a good question. I think it's the cold.
Fine. I like the idea of frost forming on your leather jerkin because I think you've got one.
No, I don't.
On your rather nice robe.
Yeah. Well, it's a warm robe, but
not warm enough. Let's have you roll. I'm assuming you maintain the engagement rather than running away from it. Okay, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Roll plus grit.
Yeah. Yep.
That's looking good. So on a 10, I'm gonna. What does harm to this thing look like?
I think it kind of it's like smoke, right? And I think that there are rips appearing in the form of that thing,
beginning to lose some coherence.
And I think it recoils slightly.
I'm going to go straight to Jandetin. You can see that Rissan's chanting at it. It's beginning to fray at the edges. What do we see you doing?
Yeah, when he said, I've got this sort of thing. Okay, is there can I get to the skeletons without any objects being in the way? Could I
say that again?
Could I get to the skeletons without anything being in the way?
Well, currently the only things in the way are Inkarne and Delenda. Delenda is already moving on to the next grave on the edge of which...
leap. Can I do death from above, leap, and just
yes.
Skeletons?
Do you want to go left after Delenda or right?
We'll go right.
Let's have you use leap. So I'll put a line through that. If I can do that. There we go. To show that you used it. And I think this takes you. Well, you tell me what. There's one getting really close to Inkarne, which is probably a waste of leap, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And there's another one beyond that.
Yeah, I'll go for the other one. I just try and slice it down as I'm landing.
And just for the purposes of the on-screen view, what does this look like?
I look at Rissan and nod, and then say, "But Makti," and just leap, just a massive leap, and slice it down. Hopefully,
because if you like, beyond Inkarne's, the one that's about to engage Inkarne, two others now are moving that way around the pool, and you just strike from above. Fingers are crossed, Jandetin. Roll plus might.
All right. I've still got my true thing, so I get things. So yeah, that makes that 2. This should be a lot better. 12.
12. My goodness me. Death from above. What does it look like when you land on?
Well, it's sort of slightly behind them with my sword, so my sword's just slicing them straight down the middle.
And bones.
Yep.
And then you spin around, and there's another skeleton just closing on you.
I'll smile.
You do more than that, because with a 12, you take that one as well. So both of the ones further beyond Inkarne are now down. One on the other side, Delenda's taken it, and the other two are approaching Delenda. Inkarne, though, I'm going to come to you first because there is one in your face now. What do we see you doing?
I'm assuming I can't. Is it the bowstring's broken? So can she get her broadsword out, or does she...
Oh yeah. This is heroic fantasy. Of course you can.
Well, no, we'll see how heroic with this roll, but yeah.
I mean, you could run into the water. If you wanted to avoid it.
No.
Okay,
think,
just checking.
Yeah, I think she'll try to whip her broadsword out so
Do that thing. Roll plus might.
okay.
Which is flat for you, I think.
It is. Not that modifiers have done much good lately.
Snake eyes. You take a significant blow. It costs you 1 health to engage it, and you're going to take another one as it's the blunt sword it's wielding comes down on you.
Okay.
And I don't think I made Delenda pay for that first attack, or Jandetin pay for that second attack. So each of you needs to reduce health by 1. I think back around to Rissan. Oh no, hang on. I think Delenda has reached. I think 2 are coming at you now. The 2 remaining on that side of the room, Delenda, are coming at you. What do we see you doing?
Can I hit both of them at the same time?
I think it depends how well. You can certainly try. So let's have you roll plus might. And I'm noticing that you took as your second level skill hand to hand. So you are going to do better than the dice roll. What could go wrong? To quote a friend, you'd be losing money not to try and hit them both.
Yeah. So I'm just going to try it. Hold on, let me.
I've just noticed in the chat, don't disturb whatever lives in the water. Stupid hobbit.
Okay. I got a 5.
This is just going so well. In an effort to hit them both, you miss them both, but both of them hit you. Pay 1 for the attack, but also take 2 health damage, as each of them has an impact on you. Sorry, no, only one to make your attack and 1 from them, because you do have some light armor on, I think.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten. This is all going terribly well. There is now only the 2 facing Delenda and a lumbering zombie Tusk Rider edging towards Jandetin. However, Rissan, you are still engaged with a watchful guardian spirit. What do you do?
I mean, this seemed to work pretty well. The last one I did, so I will kind of advance in its direction to kind of shoo it away and to say to it in an incantation by the words of the elders and our forebears, leave this place, let us go.
Be gone, foul creature of the night. Go ahead, roll the dice plus grit.
Yes, or I will destroy you. See how that goes. Yep, it's another 10.
Will you look at that? That's a 10. It doesn't back away. You do destroy it. What does that look like?
I think with the last words, as I step towards it, it tries to move around me or tries to attack me, engulf me, but it's already too frayed, and I think it kind of loses all coherence and just, yeah, okay. Then I'll turn and see what's going on, and what's her name? Jessra? She's still there, right?
Oh, Jessra is hovering on your shoulder like this.
Okay, good. Very good. Yeah. And I will say to her,
You
like,
said this was the way out.
oh, this is basically like it's always going, it's fine.
Let me think. Where am I? I think it's probably Jandetin I go to first, then Inkarne or Delenda. But Jandetin, you are probably now nearest to the zombie Tusk Rider, which is
Charge it.
shambling towards you.
Yeah, charge hack.
Fine, let's have you roll with might.
Just for narrative, I think I'm going to run up and slide and try and hack it as I go under it, but we'll see how that goes.
Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes.
14.
Well, what do you
this
know?
good in ages.
What a set of rolls. We go from snake eyes to boxcars in a matter of moments. How do we see you end the Tusk Rider zombie?
I think I slide underneath it, sliding its guts, and then pop up behind it and hack it down from the other side.
It's fine. So, yeah, what's left of its rotting bowels spill onto the ground behind you as you slide underneath it. And then as it's looking down, it looks up and turns towards you to meet your sword coming towards it and taking it off of the neck. And it kind of into the water. Couldn't resist it, Rissan. What can I tell you? Inkarne, your tracking and survival, there's that slight moment of peace for a moment, and you can distinctly hear stone scraping on stone in that corridor that you came in through. Delenda, the two are now kind of raining blows on you. Let's see if you can stop that happening. Do you run away or do you fight them?
Yeah, no, at this point, I think I want to use my room magic. Room spell.
I've just had a moment of clarity. You know that you completely failed last time. You failed last time, didn't you, to hit them? And they did harm to you. You have hand to hand as a skill. You can't fail to hit them. So give yourself back 1 point of health.
Okay.
And I'm going to take one of them out. So there's only one of them left. I'm sorry. I should have kept an eye on that.
No, that's fine.
So you may or may not want to go with the rune magic.
Yeah, in that case, I won't, because if it's just one, I'm just going to try to kill it normally.
Fine. Just do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
Roll plus might, yeah.
Yeah, I got 7 this time, so.
Which, because of hand-to-hand, becomes a 10. How do we see you take down the remaining undead in the room?
Yeah, I think this time I do a short jump, and then I swing my sword from above and kind of cut it into half, right and left and right. Yeah, slice its spine in half.
Fine, and we are left with 6 piles of bones. But Inkarne, that is when you see one of those stone gargoyles from the roof reach the threshold of the room on the other side, where the Tusk Rider was previously impaled. What do you do, Inkarne?
I think she will yell at everyone. I think it's time to go. We have more company. And so she's gonna turn to skedaddle.
And of course, as ever, all attention is on the gargoyle at this point. Its head swivels to face you, Delenda, and says, "You are the intruder," and begins to step into the room. So Inkarne is saying, one out, all out. Rissan, you and Jezra, you're already across the threshold. do you head on down this corridor towards this next arch?
I will yell at the gargoyle. The intruders, my friend, are up. They are trying to break in.
Aha!
What are you doing down here? You should be guarding the tower, not the basement.
And I
Go
think
up.
Delenda will recognize that you are speaking the language that this thing first spoke to her.
Yeah.
So Rissan, I think this is about persuasion, isn't it?
Well,
Ines Rolian.
yes, I'm pretty.
Because it worked last time.
Yeah, and it's my native tongue, and I can persuade things.
Let's see how it's going to need some persuasion though that it's been activated, but.
Oh, it's a 6. But it's still a success because I've got persuasion.
Exactly, from 7. And I think what this means is that it continues in its little stony mind. It continues to recognize you for what you claimed last time, was that you'd actually come from inside the tower and you weren't an intruder.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't think it has shifted the view that Delenda is an actual intruder. So it is still plodding after Delenda. Oh, Blake just.
Oh, wow, and we lost Jandetin.
Yeah. So hopefully he'll come back in a moment. While you're doing that, Jezra says to you, "What's this, do you think?" As she goes to put a ring on.
No. Don't put any rings on you, just fine. No. No.
Well,
it could be
when that shadowy thing went, it just seemed to fall on the ground.
That's brilliant. Don't put it on unless you want to be possessed by the shadowy thing.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
You put it on.
Yes, I put it on. I take the ring. I don't put it on.
You don't put it on. Okay, just checking. So yeah, the Delenda, this gargoyle is slowly moving across the chamber towards you. Inkarne is saying everyone out. Rissan stopped, didn't leave. Inkarne, do you lead the way down the passageway ahead?
Yes.
That was a very certain yes. Jezra will go with you. Because I think she this is all getting a little bit too much for Jezra. It's all very exciting initially, but this is beginning to seem like not a simple way out. So she's just going to follow you because you said, "Come on, it's time to leave," and she's keen. Rissan, do you stay or do you follow Jezra and Inkarne down this passageway?
The thing is still coming for Delenda. I'm trying to delay it because I think once Delenda is out, I can probably convince it, like, we're leaving, she's out, now guard the tower, please.
I think I need to know how you're going to do that. You haven't I'm looking at learn a secret about an object or place or something of its past.
I could try that, yeah.
I'm just wondering whether it would give you some way to know how to turn off the intruder alarm here.
Yeah,
So let's have you roll plus current favor, which I think is currently sitting at 2.
Yeah.
So go ahead, roll plus 2.
Oh, I've rolled plus 1. It's a 9 then.
It's a 9. On a 9, you get the effect, but it costs 1 current favor, so favor drops down by another 1. But I think you do recognize that there is a way to discourage this, and that is to touch its forehead while you tell it what you believe to be true. Are you prepared to try that?
What I believe to be true,
and what you believe to be true is what you've been trying to convince it of.
Oh, yeah, I don't believe that's true at all. So.
Well, sorry, what you want it to believe is true. Yeah, better put.
Okay, that's different. Sorry. That is different.
Me getting overexcited with the idea of you having to get close enough to a gargoyle to touch its forehead with your finger.
Yeah, okay.
Because there's a patch in its forehead that, under the influence of the spell, is illuminated.
Ooh, nice. I'll look at Delenda and say, maybe you'd better go out, try to stop it. I have an idea. If it strikes me down, maybe try to get me out.
Yeah, I will avenge you.
Thank you. I was hoping you'd say that.
That's the kind of reassurance you need.
Yeah.
So Inkarne and Jezra are at the next threshold. Rissan is moving towards the Gargoyle. Delenda is heading to follow Inkarne, and I'm going to assume that Jandetin goes with you, because there's no sign of Blake yet. We'll take a break in a moment because I'll drop him a message, see if he's okay. So I think, Rissan, this is about you getting close enough to this thing to just impress it with your will.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
I will keep talking to it because, listen, you are a very formidable guardian of this place. I can see it is in a very good hands. I know why your master entrusted you with this super important mission, and I can see that you will not be easily deterred. And then I try to, like I'm hailing it or something. This is more about, less about stealth and more about deception.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think that it's talky, and then
touchy.
And I think, therefore, it's as much about dexterity and agility as it is about anything else. But I think I will allow persuasion to apply.
Okay.
On the grounds that the talky gets you close enough. But I think it's roll persuasion is valid, but you're rolling with might.
Okay. Fair enough.
Stone Guardian off switch still.
Oh, I have it. Sorry. And I'm rolling with -1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that mighty. And it's a 6, but persuasion applies, so.
So it becomes a 7.
Barely scraping by.
You can see its eyes narrowing, the kind of the stone creaks together, and it raises, it's going to hit you, and then and it says, "Why am I here? I should be on the roof."
Yes, you should guard the tower from above.
I will return to the roof.
Very good.
And I think that is probably where we'll take our next break. During the break, I'll message just to say that we're on a break and hoping that Blake can rejoin us. Okay. Shall we say, let's leave it until on the hour, just in case he's had to reboot. Yeah. See you on the hour.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back from our last commercial break, and one of our players, it looks like, is having technical trouble, so we will hope to weave Jandetin back in if and when they can get back in. We've just had a little off recording chat around complications and opportunities and how they might be bound into these scenes. So let me begin with Inkarne and Jezra.
Blake just wrote an email that he has a power outage and not sure if he can return.
That's such a shame. That's such a shame. With one undead left to kill. Well, his quest will continue. Next time in Rune Seekers of Glorantha. That's a shame. Thanks for spotting that. I suppose it is the middle of the night. It's a good time to do repairs in Australia. Anyway, let's do the best we can. So, Inkarne and Jezra got to the archway, the next threshold, and as you approach it, Inkarne, 2 candles light in the space beyond, illuminating what is clearly a constructed chamber. The 2 candles that illuminated, that came on as you approached the archway, are mounted of course, on the top of two human skulls resting on the floor. Yeah? What do you do, Inkarne?
So it's as we're have we gone
You haven't crossed the threshold. Well, clearly you've crossed some line,
right,
but you haven't gone into this chamber. But as you've got to that threshold into the chamber, these two black candles flicker on.
I think she'll pull up and also make sure that what's her name again?
Jezra?
Jezra does not continue to cross that next threshold, and just kind of try to take the scene in and see what might be, if she can see anything or understand what's going on, maybe.
Fine. Before we do that, I want to cut back to the other end of this 5-meter corridor, maybe, passageway, to where Delenda, you went into that passageway, but you looked back over your shoulder and saw Rissan apparently send the Gargoyle on its way. So I'm curious if there's any conversation as Rissan follows you into the passageway, Delenda.
Yeah, I think I definitely are asking, you speak the tongue of these creatures?
Oh, it is an older version of my home tongue, so yes, I do.
That is good. That is good.
Yeah, I speak a lot of languages. It's kind of what I did when I was at home.
Did they tell you who their master is?
No, I don't. I think they have phrases that they can communicate, and their master's name is not among those. They are not speaking like we speak free will. They have those phrases they can choose from.
I see.
At least that's how this usually works.
And then
Yeah.
you'll see the outline of Inkarne and Jezra illuminated from beyond as those two candles flicker to life. I'm happy for you to carry on the conversation. I just want you to know that is now in the fiction. You know that's happened.
Oh, this looks fun.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Off you go.
We go.
Inkarne, you wanted to kind of what did you want?
Well, I guess I think she wants to see I guess what's in the room. The candles have lit up what's in the room,
Fine. There are this is clearly some kind of ritual space. The floor is tiled. They alter black and red tiles. Around one of the skulls, the tiles are red. Around the other one, they are black. But where they overlap, the tiles alternate. So there's an overlapping space as well. And they fill the width of the room, those two circles. Yeah?
Okay.
On the far side of those two tiled circles with the candles burning in the middle of each, is clearly a sarcophagus raised on a plinth. Of course there is. Anything else? Let's have you roll with wit.
All right, because I think she also wants to see if there's another way out, or if we've just hit a dead end.
Fine.
Roll with wit. That's
I think given what you want to know, I will allow survival.
okay. Let's see.
This gets better and better.
Ornelda has forsaken me.
I think the way that I'll play my response to that, it isn't that. Oh, go on.
Well, it's it would bump up, right, because of the survival.
Oh, it would. Sorry, yeah, well done, well remembered. So that turns into a mixed success. On a mixed success, I think what I can tell you is that both those candle flames are inclined slightly towards you. There is the breeze that Rissan spotted earlier on is coming from beyond the far end of this chamber, which is outside the candlelight cast by these two candles. Yeah. So you think that there probably is an exit out there through which air is coming. Does that seem fair?
It does, and I think that would tie in with the fact that we hadn't seen much sign of passage the other towards us, right? So I think we probably are thinking there has to be another way out of here, because whatever's down here hasn't come the way we've come. So yep, that seems...
So Delenda and Rissan, you've come to this, you followed them down this corridor. Inkarne, are you crossing the threshold into the room yet, or are you waiting for backup?
I'm waiting to. I'm thinking there might need to be a moment of groupthink before we
Fine.
go in.
So let's have that moment of. What does that conversation? How does that conversation go? What are we working out?
I think this is kind of some kind of a trap, and I hate those.
Clearly, there's something in that sarcophagus,
Yeah.
but I don't know if you guys noticed the breeze. I think there's a way out on the other side.
So how do we get to the other side? Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess the question is, do we try to sneak our way to the other side, or do we just stick a sword into the sarcophagus and hope we can destroy whatever is inside?
I think if we move into this room the wrong way, this thing will go awake. So
let me ask some questions here, because I warned you I was going to try and weave complications and opportunities into this. Let me start with Inkarne. You have a complication that says you are drawn to a particular place. Say where and why when you see it. This place has haunted your dreams. What makes it a complication? What frightens you or worries you, or what terrible thing do you think will happen in this place?
I think that this haunts her because it is void of life, and it is not just death. It's the undeath, and it haunts her because she's had visions of this is where she dies.
Wow. I can see why this is a complication. Let me ask Delenda, because you have an opportunity. You are drawn to a particular place. Say where and why when you see it. What on earth? How on earth is this in any way a good place to be? How can you at all be optimistic at this point?
Yeah, I think
If you need a bit of time to think about that, that's fine.
Yeah.
I got other places to go in terms of complication opportunity. I'll come back to you. Because I suppose the other thing I'm curious about, Inkarne, is that you have an opportunity. You know what you have to do to put things right. Say what when you see the opportunity. So in your nightmares, you die in a place like this. But what in your dreams do you think, what have your dreams been telling you about how to put things right? Big questions.
Yes. I think I'll take the easy the way out and say that she must, I think she's, if she destroys what's here, that would be, if she could seal or destroy the evil that taints the place, then she could, that's the opportunity.
And in your nightmares, is it that kind of nightmare where you know what you have to do, but every time you fail?
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Do you want to be really give me a hook into exactly what you are trying to do in that nightmare that proves too difficult or you fail? Or do you want to leave it a bit open at this point?
Well, I was thinking that she can we leave it a little open?
We can. Rissan, you have a ring. Yeah? And you have a complication, an opportunity rather. You escaped a tragedy. How is that an opportunity? While looking up information on the artifact, I discovered some information about other artifacts. And the reason you got into that was because of our complication, which led to your exile, which is we found an artifact, and when it was activated, a foul miasma erupted and killed all the researchers and a few other people. I survived, but some of the blame fell on me and I was exiled. So in what way does this ring resemble the artifact that caused that?
Oh, I think the artifact that caused it was a bracelet, and it had the exact same runes on it as this ring does. So this might be a part of a kind of a set, and the bracelet that was clear, the bracelet could be used to release this miasma. It could be used for other things too, but the way we were going on was pretty clear from my research. That would release the miasma. It was only too late to tell everybody that no, don't do that.
So you know what not to do.
Yeah, exactly.
You are not entirely clear on what you should do.
Yes, that's true.
I think that will run as a +1 advantage if you choose to try to activate the ring.
Okay.
Yeah? Well, let me come back to Delenda about... I tell you what, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I think I have an idea about like the opportunity.
Go ahead.
So I think like it's like if it's even more specific than just this place. I think what I'm getting is that I feel like I have been here before, and so like while I'm here, like at all times, I know what's the best place to be. So like I know like oh right now like standing like 3 steps away from like the east wall is the best location to be, like in terms of like and then I know like the next moment it would be like the best to be like to go like 5 steps toward the sarcophagus and things like that.
I think that's a lovely idea. So that would shape up as a +1 advantage based on foreknowledge, dreams of this place. Yeah?
Yeah.
Inkarne, I think there's a +1 advantage floating about here. Yeah, combat feng shui from Delenda. That's a lovely way to put it. I think there's a +1 advantage to be had here, Inkarne, around the right thing to do when you do it. Yeah, when you pin down what the right thing to do is, you will have a +1 advantage to do that thing. Okay?
And I think if it's okay, I kind of like what Delenda said as when you were saying what failed, right? And I think in her dreams she was always by herself and couldn't get through the couldn't every time she tried to enter the room or tried to get out, to where she could do the things she needed to do, she did it wrong. I mean, and if that might play nicely with what Delenda just said, that she has knowledge, or she has knowledge that of how to navigate the room.
Okay, what I'm going to say is I'm going to operationalize that as you need to do 2 things at once to make this better. Yeah, because you have to do this and this, and you do it, and you're not quick enough, or you do that and you're not quick enough. Finally, Delenda, you are subject to a dire prophecy. Say what and how when you sense it is coming to pass. How is this place and this time connected to the dire prophecy laid upon you by some bison rider wise woman?
Yeah, I think I have once came to a shaman to read like my dream or like my feeling about this place, and like the shaman told me like you will know what's the best place to be and the best thing to do when that happens. But he also told me that you will be responsible for someone you care about dying in that place.
Went the crowd. Responsible for someone's death. Okay. I think that you've set me up with lots of stuff to work with in our last 30 minutes or so to get through this room and escape to freedom. So, Inkarne, I'm going to come back to you. What's the first thing we see Inkarne doing?
I think this has something to do with these. I think they need to do something with these candles, and I think we're going to see her try to move into the room along that overlapping path.
Okay, so you're going to try to go up the middle, so to speak. Yeah, where the red and the black tiles alternate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
well, don't tell me anything else. That's what I need to. That's what I need to know. That's the intention. Delenda, what's your intention?
Yeah, I think I'm also going to go into the tile.
Fine. Up the middle. So red tiles, black tiles, where they overlap, alternating black and reds. Black, red, or mixture?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture.
So both of you are heading up towards the middle. Okay. Rissan, what about you?
I think I need to figure out what this ring was here, right? And I think well, the bracelet was for attack, ring probably was for control. So I need to figure out how to control this ring.
put on the ring and invoke it?
I would actually ask my Lankar Mai for help here because just fiddling around with artifacts led to a pretty bad thing last time I tried it. So
I mean, you still haven't chosen your scrying as your remaining Lankar Mai. Discern a directional location of something or someone that oh well, I think that's probably irrelevant, but never mind.
right.
So this is about insight.
Insight is a lot better. More
Okay.
useful here. I need insight. Please, my God. Grant me some insight.
Roll plus current favor.
It's not a lot, but you know.
Lankar Mai's getting tired of helping you out.
Yeah, I know, but yeah. Wow.
That's a 13.
Just
my goodness me. You do need to put it on.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me what Lankar Mai tells you about how you should activate this.
I think how this activates would be by I think it would be because this is clearly tied to the whole undead thing here, which is why the miasma was a life stealer, actually. So this is what I figure out now. Great. So this is connected to the undead. And what I need to do is, I think I need to make it believe that I am, in fact, a servant, at least, of the undead. And I think what would help will be spilling some blood on it.
You have to play at being a worshipper of Viva Mort. You need to sacrifice blood to it.
Yep.
That's fine.
Yep. That is.
And you have +1 to make it work that way. Don't do it yet. Just sit on that worry. Because Inkarne, you cross the threshold into the room, followed by Delenda. Rissan appears to be taking a dagger to their thumb. And Jezra follows you, Inkarne, because, you want to get out of here. You've made that clear. And as soon as you cross the threshold into the room, you hear, each of you hears in your head, a voice saying something like, open yourself to the ecstasy that is Viva Mort and his servant, our master Mirana. And with that, there's a haunting, ululating, it doesn't have words, it's just tones, a shifting harmony from two ululating voices, which, no words, but it's speaking to your emotions. Inkarne, how do you defend yourself against this spell?
I think she reaches out to she chants under her breath sort of some mantras or things that are of Ernalda to fill her mind with life, to try to ward off the lure of this spell.
Fine. Let's have you roll with grit to resist the blandishments of Viva Mort. That's success. That's a change, Inkarne. Go with the flow. So you successfully, hold off this, but you can feel your soul, your vitality, your life. There's a reaching for that. I want you to grasp it and hoard it. Delenda, you hear the same things, you have the same sensations. what do we see you doing as you try to resist this?
Yeah, I think I think I think like I lean forward a little and like walk like I am against like a snowstone or sandstone, and I say, "Huh, we have weathered worse stone than you, glorified mosquito. The bison riders bow to no one."
Roll plus grit.
Oh, hold on, I need to refresh it.
That is 6 plus grit makes it a 7. Close run thing. You hold it off. But it's, you know, the degree to which it's filling your head gets greater and greater. And that's when Jezra just walks between the pair of you towards the sarcophagus. Rissan, what do you do?
Well, I can hardly say no and fight it off while trying to convince the ring that I am a servant. So I will use the ring to say to this thing, yeah, sure, I'm your servant. Of course, word of honor.
So, and smear it on the ring as you slide it onto your finger. What do we see?
Yeah, I think you see the ring, when it touches the blood, it kind of sucks it in. Blood kind of leaves. Yeah, it takes a little more than I thought. I think I will lose 1 health here because I mean it's an artifact. It should cost something, right?
Fine. I think that's very cool. Roll with law to control it. You get +1 advantage because of the previous experience.
And I've got my wit, right?
And you've got wit. You're rolling plus wit. No, actually, sorry, no, you're rolling with grit to will it to work on your behalf.
That is fine. Yeah. That is fine. I'm actually rather gritty. Oh, I have it. That's an 8.
That's an 8, which becomes a 10 because you're using law. So, what is it this ring does? You have control of this ring.
Okay. I think the ring is would actually.
You've got 2 things going here. I'm going to give you one.
Things.
You are shielded from this because you've already embraced the ecstasy that is Vihomort. You don't need, so that's fine.
And I think what the control does is like it will shield me from other traps and things that are in this room, right? Like I can just walk across the red, black, no matter. I can just walk across it. Nothing will happen.
Fine.
It will just ignore me.
Exactly. That's
as
fine.
long as I wear the ring. And maybe once the Lord arises, I might have some stuff I can do in a mental combat with him. But
well, we'll find out about that.
Yeah.
So you put the ring on, you get, you know, the sound of this just goes into the background. You're not focused on it. Inkarne and Delenda, you are holding it off. Inkarne, what are you doing?
So Jezra's just kind of, we can tell
walked past you straight towards the sarcophagus.
Would what's happening to her, would I be able to use the cure an illness part of renewal to try to break her out of that, or is this
that's a cool thing to try. Yeah. Let's have you do that. So you are going to invoke renewal to try and cure disease. In this case, it's a psychological obsession. Let's try it. So to do that, you're going to roll plus current favor.
Is 2. 11.
It's an 11. On 10 plus, your god is generous. it doesn't cost you any favor. Favor doesn't change. And Jezra has just about reached the edge of the, the long edge of the sarcophagus, and is reaching out a hand towards it when she stops and turns towards you. And how did I get here? And as she turns towards you, a hand comes out of the sarcophagus and grasps her by the wrist. Delenda, what about you? What do we see you doing?
So at this point, we still don't see like the thing that's doing this, right? We only see
I think it's probably fair to say that as you've got closer to them, the skull and the candles are the source of this enchantment.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to use my sword to cut down one of the candles.
Fine. You've been here before. That feels like the right thing to do. So you can have your +1 advantage now, or you can hold it in reserve.
Yeah, I think I will hold it in reserve for now.
Okay, so this is a straightforward roll plus might to stride up to this candle and hit it. There is a situational disadvantage here of 2. So plus might -2, because the blandishments are ignore me, embrace Vivamort.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to roll with 2d6 -2.
Plus whatever your might is. Oh, 0, right,
Yeah.
okay. Remember, this is hand to hand, so you can't fail.
Oh, if it's hand to hand, do I also get the bonus from my weapon?
Oh, yes, I'd forgotten your finely made blade. Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah, then it should be a 7 before.
What a relief. Yeah. What a relief. So that's a 7. And what do we see as you strike this candle skull, whatever?
Yeah, I think I say, I have had liquors worse than this, and then I just I think like I don't just cut it once. I think I cut it a few times, like quickly back and forth, and then like the candle like falls to the ground, and then I think if the fire doesn't go out, maybe I will stamp on it to like make it go out.
And the power of that ululation diminishes. Now, Inkarne, pardon me, you know that you have to do 2 things here. Do you want to cash in that advantage to do that second thing? Or do you want to hold it in your back pocket and do something else?
I think she wants to yell to Rissan to destroy the other candle, and then she's going to try to free Jezra from the grip of the thing.
Of the thing, whatever's inside that stone sarcophagus. So sure Rissan, that's the call as Inkarne battles against this wave of ululation. It's weaker than it was. So this will be a -1 disadvantage rather than a -2, Inkarne. And he's heading to rescue Jezra. What do you do, Rissan?
I had other plans, but I think this is a good catch. So I will go up to the skull, take the candle off, and I mean, yeah, it's nice with a big sword. I don't have a big sword, and also we only need the candle out, right?
Let's see whether Vivamort is inclined to believe that you're doing this in all honor. So let's have you roll with grit.
Yes.
To resist, to continue to convince them that you are who you say you are. So I think persuasion is in play.
Yeah, okay.
So it's just a question of how good it is.
I need that. Why don't I have dice in my pool? Huh. Weird. It's a 9.
It's a 9. So that becomes a 10. You get to it and you are able to pick it up and you blow it out. And the good thing is it does not reignite.
Yeah.
And the other relation is gone. Inkarne, you are at the sarcophagus and Jereza is trying to pull away from this thing. What do you do?
I think she'll grab. I think she's going to grab Jezra to try to yank her away from it, and keep herself in between it, and then be like rip her away so that she's there instead of Jezra.
So pull her free. I think that's might. So go ahead, roll plus might. I think there's a -1 at play in here because this is not a weak thing that you were trying to pry her free from. Maybe not as strong as it would like to be, but not weak.
Have I used my +1 yet?
You haven't. Would you like to use it now?
I think I do. To just
Fine.
even because I don't have any bonus on might, so this will just then be a straight roll.
It will. You pull her free and she throws herself into your arms, saying, "Oh God, that felt so awful. That touch, it's like slimy and horrid." Delenda, what do you do?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to try to go toward the sarcophagus and destroy it.
Because of course now a forearm has appeared on the edge of this and something is pulling itself out of the sarcophagus. Let's have you rush it then.
So
physical attack?
I think I want to use like my skin shifter first.
Oh, let's have you call on Waha. So roll plus current favor.
Yeah, so that's 3, right?
Tis.
I got 8 total.
Fine. Your god grants you the full effect of the spell, but you reduce current favor by 1. And as you move across the room, we see the transformation. We've seen it before. We see it again. This clawed jackal figure, this beast.
Nice.
And so how do you engage what's climbing out of this sarcophagus?
Yeah, I think I don't focus on the forearm. I think I take my sword and I try to stab the sarcophagus, like somewhere in the, like if it's a humanoid thing, and stabbing it somewhere in the heart or like lung region.
So what I think I'm seeing is the jackal leaps onto the lip of the sarcophagus.
Yeah.
And tries to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, Rissan, what do we see you doing at this point?
Sigh a little because that put a dagger to my plan, but I'll still try it. I'll go up to the sarcophagus, and I will use the ring to send very sleepy thoughts to that thing in there, because it should really just sleep. It's so nice just to be asleep,
Okay. So we know what Delenda wants to do. Let's see if you can begin to cause the vampire to slumber or relax. Can you create an advantage that the rest of you could use? So let's have you, I think, I don't think this is law, because I think this is a bit too specific. So I think this is probably about your grit. It is about willpower and willing through the ring.
Yes.
Because you're a servant simply saying, "Don't worry, master, rest, all is well."
Yeah.
Do your thing. Do your thing. Roll plus grit.
Did I get a +1 or did I already use it?
I think you might have used it, but I'm not going to be picky at this point in the proceedings. Have your +1 advantage right now.
Okay. Because that's what, okay.
So roll +2, I think.
Yes.
Gosh, little vampire, don't say a word.
So 7.
A 7, close run thing.
Mhm.
But I think that is going to grant a +1 advantage versus the vampire.
Mhm.
Delenda, let's go to you. You've leapt up and you kind of plunge your +1 highly crafted sword into it, aiming for somewhere in the kind of general chest area. Fine. Let's have you roll with might. With
Yeah.
any of the advantage that the shape change grants you and the finely crafted weapon, I think.
Yeah. So shape change give me +1, right? And then
Yeah.
like weapon give me another +1, so it's +2.
It is. And hand-to-hand level, your skill counts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got a 7.
So that becomes a 10. That will do 2 harm to this thing. Inkarne, Jezra has thrown herself at you, weeping and scared shitless. What do you do?
I think we'll see I think we'll see I think we'll see her say calm yourself, and I think she'll plant a big smacker on her, and then she'll set her aside and draw her broadsword and jump up on there with
Delenda.
Delenda.
Okay. Don't you worry, hun. So let's have you jump and strike. So roll plus might. You kept that +1 in your back pocket, didn't you?
Nope, I think I used it.
Oh, you did. You did. Yeah.
9.
It's not bad. That puts another dint in the vampire's life, but it is.
Would you get +1 from the fact that the vampire is drowsy?
You
Did
would.
add that in?
You would remind me about that +1 advantage because the vampire is a bit slumbery. So that does 2. Still hasn't taken it out. It's now sitting.
She'll take 1 too for just engaging in the.
Exactly. Yeah. And now it's sitting up and trying to stand up. As you and Delenda are kind of balanced on the edge of this sarcophagus. Probably easier for a jackal than a person, but doesn't matter. Rissan, I'm going to come to you before I go to Delenda and then go back to Inkarne.
I think I'm keeping at it because it seems to be helpful to slow the vampire down more than anything else that I could reasonably do.
What's it like in this vampire's mind?
It's hungry. It's very hungry. It wants to feed, and yeah.
You're soothing that hunger.
Yeah.
The beast wants to escape, and you keep kind of just soothing it and closing the door and closing the door.
Yeah, and then telling it that it can feed through its artifacts. It's fine.
Delenda, do your thing.
Yeah, I think is it sitting up already?
Yes.
So we can see like the head and everything.
Yeah, and you can see this dry and wizened, ancient-looking man, but the eyes glow with life.
Yeah, so I think once again smash my sword like on top of his head. So like I am hitting him in the head. And
do that thing.
Yeah.
Roll plus might, plus the advantage of the shape change, plus the highly crafted broadsword, and he's still not entirely awake, so you get another +1 for that. So there's
So I think I'm going to use my bonus. I haven't used it. Yeah, so that's +4.
+4. That just never happens. Oh, it does now.
I got a 9.
So that you do some harm on it, but it has managed to get to its knees and is reaching for you. You're holding it off with the sword. Inkarne, will nothing put this thing down?
All right, so I think at this point she sees in her mind of the flashbacks to her dreams and everything, and I think it comes to her that what she's going to do is she's going to try to reach out with her rune magic using earthquake to try to send right on it to try to maybe send it down into like the earth, right? Like that.
I love that. I love that. So roll plus current favor to see whether Ronaldo is listening or whether the perverse anti-life of this place is holding her back.
So I have 2, okay. 9.
9. Reduce your current favor by 1 on a 7+. But yes, roll d6 to see how effective your earthquake is.
That's been a surely the damage dice cannot continue to hurt you. It does. It's a 1. It's a 1.
You jinxed it.
God, every single time it's been a 1.
The sarcophagus cracks underneath it, but I'm afraid it doesn't part and crush it to death, which a 6 certainly would have done. Rissan, you carrying on with the Jetta is screaming in your ear. How do we get out? How do we get out? How do we get out? Oh, you are muted.
I am muted, right? I
While I
will
scream at you.
Yeah, I will do the same thing, and I will. Oh, I have an idea.
Go on.
I will, now that it's coming awake, right? So I will distract. I will try to distract it by master. These are not the real danger. Look over there through the door and point to some inane direction where nothing is coming. I'm pretty sure this will blow my cover, but it might serve to give the others a better chance of.
Because I think you're right. I think it is coming awake. I think that those +1 advantages are that ship has sailed. So let's have you roll to persuade it.
Yeah.
Pointing with the finger with the ring on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Roll with persuasion. Roll
persuasion. Wits. Okay. Wit is this. Oh, it's a 10.
Oh, it's a 10. Oh, it's a 10. That is going to create 2 advantages. A +2 advantage.
Wow.
Delenda, what do you do
Delenda.
as Rissan points and the vampire attention follows the direction the ring is pointing in? How do you use that +2 advantage?
Let me see. Oh, yeah. So I think I'm going to call on my spirit magic. I have strike.
Oh, so you do, yes.
Yeah. So I call on the spirit of my soul and say, little god of the sword, help me put down this vile creature. And then so I think we see like my sword is kind of like engulfed in this ghostly fire, right? And then so like I just swing it like sideways, but the point is like the ghostly fire would like damage the vampire more than like physically, because like it's like spirit.
Roll the dice.
Yeah,
Roll plus might. You have
I
plus
think
one for the jackal, plus one for the well-crafted sword. You have plus might. So I'm counting plus two. I missed one.
You
Oh.
got +2 from the fact that the
And plus two, yes. So we're back at plus four. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
And then you will do one extra point of damage, come what may.
Yeah, I got a 10.
Hand to hand improves that to a 12. So 7 plus 1 point of damage, 10 plus 2 points of damage, 12 plus 3 points of damage, plus the one that you get for invoking Disrupt. That causes the head to come free from the body and tumble away, hit the ground and turn into dust at the same point that the body crumbles.
Yes.
And that is that. You have killed the vampire. There is a way out of here. It leads down to the base of the cliff above which the tower is located. But I think probably I'd like a little epilogue for what we see of each of you. Does anyone want their epilogue to be immediately after that confrontation? Okay. What about when you get back to the fort? Yeah, I'm seeing Rissan nodding. What's your epilogue when you get back to the fort, Rissan?
Yeah, I think after there is a festivity, I think for return of the daughter, blah blah blah.
Feast.
Yes, and we see, but Rissan has not. He's not in the right mind. He's retreated to his room and he's writing, and he's put off the ring, but he's glancing towards it. It's like it's you can see a gleam, and there's an ominous melody in the backyard. You can see his hand reaching for it, and then snapping back to his pen, to his writing feather thing quill, to his quill, and but the camera ends on this gleaming golden ring with these inscriptions.
You need to put it in an envelope and leave it somewhere safe. Delenda, do you want a scene back at the fort, or do you want to go further on in time?
Yeah, let me think about it for a while. Okay,
Fine. I'll go to Inkarne. Inkarne, back at the fort or further away in time?
We could do the fort.
Go ahead. What do we see as Inkarne's epilogue?
Yeah, so I think it's maybe after the feast and whatnot. She's frustrated with feeling like she hasn't honored Inkarne or Ernalda enough, that there were so many things that didn't happen the way she had supposed it, and feels that perhaps she has not honored Ernalda in the way that she should. And so I think we'll see her like packing up her things to go and spend time out in the wild by herself to reconnect with Ernalda and honor her in ways that she feels like maybe she hasn't been. So
I like that. And finally, Delenda.
Yeah, I think like her epilogue is I think we see a quick immediate cut thing about like she telling the Duke she will be away for a while, and then I think we see like her actual epilogue is she going back to like the Bison Rider, her tribe, and then like she was talking to the shaman, and the shaman was telling her, so you have slayed the darkness, and like Delenda was like, she was like kind of like kneeling and say, yes, elder, I have fulfilled my destiny, and the elder was like, you have fulfilled one of your many trial, child. And then I think like Delenda she present her sword with both hands, and then the elder takes it and say, now come, child, it's time we add more stripe to your weapons.
I like those folks. Thank you for that. I'm going to slip an epilogue in for Jandetin just to honor his presence, which is deep in his cups and saying to Dane, I was so close. There were the skeletons, there was the zombie, but Delenda and Inkarne got to the vampire before I did. And that's our game. I'd like a brief stars and wishes, roses and thorns, if that's okay. So in no particular order, Sabine, any roses, any thorns?
I really like this. I like the game. I like the showdown. Lots of roses to you, Alan, for tying everything up so neatly and bring it to a more or less satisfying end. Lots of thorns to the stupid dice roller for destroying the might of the earthquake. Come on. I think the dice roller server probably sits somewhere in San Francisco and it's like, no heavy earthquakes. Anyway, yeah, I also really enjoyed seeing the other characters do their things, and I'm really sorry about Jandetin not being
Yeah,
here.
that was that. I didn't put 3 kinds of undead into this. Well, in fact, 4 kinds of undead into this for nothing. But Australian power supplies. What can I tell you?
Yeah, and I must say I would play this again, and I like the fact that if your skill applies, that you can't really fail. It helps selling this as a heroic fantasy because you're a hero. You're supposed to be good at stuff. So
yeah, kudos, John Harper. All down to you, kid. Joe, any roses, any thorns?
Well, obviously, thorns to the dice gods, and stuff. But no, I just generally, I really enjoyed this too. Echo a lot of what Sabine said. I thought we had a very interesting mix of ways that we tried to solve problems. So it wasn't it had good old school feel to it, but it didn't turn into like I think Sabine had said earlier, it was like the good stuff, right? So I enjoyed all of the kind of creative problem solving and everything. So I'd play again too. It was I also like mechanically the can't fail thing if it's what you're good at, right? That's nice too. So
I am slightly concerned about what happens when you've got 4 or 5 skills, but
right.
Any thorns?
Just the dice gods.
Fair enough. And finally, Mona.
Power and the power company in Australia there.
I was also going to bring up like power company in Australia. Somehow it seems to happen quite a bit. Yeah, I have no idea why, but yeah. Like I wasn't particularly hit by the dice god today, so I don't have a particular song there. But
that's where all the favor went.
Yeah, yeah. So I think like I like our cast. Like everyone said, I like our cast of character and the mix. I think I do like how we bring in every like opportunity and like complication together in the like last scene. I mean, I guess we didn't really like figure. We just didn't work them into the story earlier, but because we only have like 5 session planned and we didn't have the first session, and like almost like most of us has missed 1 session because Sabine wasn't there for my first session and like I was sick. So I think like I think like it's dramatic that we have everything brought together in that last thing. So I like that. So yeah. Otherwise, just kind of what everyone else said. And I don't know how different this game is from like just the world of dungeon. I know like there's some stuff being added because I think like things like the room magic is interesting. Like I like the kind of like mana system where like you use your magic and if it goes well enough, you don't even expand anything. But if it doesn't go that well, you do. So like it's kind of like an like it has that like video game feeling, like, oh, you are consume a resource to use your powerful magic, but also like you are not actually tracking like 100 points of like magic. So it's kind of an abstract way, like, oh, sometimes sometimes it gets used up and sometimes it doesn't, and yeah, I like it.
Good, good. Yeah, okay. My stars to all of you for embodying a set of gods about which you knew relatively little, I think, for the most part. Those were fantastic. And for indulging my nostalgic warm glow of stepping back into Glorantha 40 some odd years on. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to end the recording now, but based on previous experience, I may then freeze. So what I'd ask you to do is, if you're uncomfortable with me sharing and publishing this recording, tell me in the Google chat. Yeah, and I'll give you 24 hours to respond. After that, I'll post it. But yeah, on previous experience, when I press this button, something or nothing may happen. But don't feel obliged to hang about while I sit here frozen. Okay. Thanks. Been lovely playing with you all. Play with you again soon. Again, I hope.